This is the section where Aeneas meets the Harpies, page 56 to 60. Next morning, I'm mooching about the little back garden, and I hear a rasping voice like a crow or a crone say, "Keeping well?" Over the rickety wooden fence I see a face. Not the face of some old bird, but the face of a girl, with piercing eyes and a smile that was taking the mickey. I told her how we came to be there, while she kept yawning. I moved closer and saw over the fence that she was not standing but squatting on a water butt, her knees up by her chin, wearing black leggings and a multicoloured mohair pullover that looked like feathers. She was heavily pregnant? I assumed she was anyway. She seemed both too old and too young to be up the spout. The small talk was very small indeed, and soon she said, "I'll pop in to see you later with some magazines for you to read in Blondin Park. Got to go now. Must tune in to lift up your hearts on the wireless and have me morning cocoa." She gets down from the barrel. I don't really know how to put this, but she loudly blew off. No, blew sounds wrong. Blowed off. No, that's worse. She loudly farted, sorry, like a little clap of thunder. And worse luck, the wind was in the wrong direction. She scoots indoors with amazing speed like a feathery balloon blown by the wind. In fact, I could swear she was blown by her own wind. Sounded like a two-stroke or a BSA Bantam, say. I couldn't think of her just then, not so close after the event. And anyway, she was beyond thinking about. So I went up the road to this Blondin Park, named after Charles Blondin, the geezer who walked across Niagara Falls on a tightrope and lived around here. Why? So what could a park be like that inspired a feathery fart machine like her to give us magazines to read in? I imagined a perfect English park, the sort you see drawn in kids' books: boating lake, gaily painted bandstand, playground with all the rides and things, deck chairs for magazine reading, kids flying kites with their dads, benches for old folks to watch the kiddies sailing their boats. Nothing, no more than a flat grassed area before allotments. Some tarmac paths, some scrubby trees, round a football pitch, a perfect park. Oh yes, perfect for this area. I walked on the grass, tufty, too tufty for kids to play football, let alone cricket. Imagine the three of us lying on the tufty grass with our magazines, reading out bits to one another. Dad and Ned had been up to the Broadway all day, looking for work, shops, building sites, you know. I'd been shopping and bought food you didn't need to cook for our tea. A nice white tin loaf, cheese, sausage rolls, jam donuts. We were just starting on it when the knocker goes, "Here I am," and she pushes past me, in carrying a pile of magazines, that we were having our tea. She ignores it and hands out our magazines. For Ned, 4 copies of Spick and Span and 4 copies of Health and Efficiency. You probably know, folks, that these pretend to be about keeping fit and nature, but really the point of them is to show photos of naked bints with their, what shall I say, bint areas covered in something like putty. "Read these in your bedrooms is my advice to you," she goes. As she was doing this, I noticed her hands, much bigger than you would expect, and her fingernails was incredibly long and pointed, and painted bright red, like she had just scratched somebody to death. It went through me to look at them. For Dad, she had lots of Reader's Digests. Fine, but they were sort of rusty, covered in what I hoped were stains of brown rust, and with pages sticking together. For me, there were some old copies of Titbits. They had lots of photos cut out, so when you turned a page, it came into little bits. Thanks very much, I said, my mind not really on the mags, but on two of her habits that maybe she kept for indoors. She was forever picking her nose. It looked like the pickings stayed behind on her killer nails. She was also fond, how shall I put this? Let's just say of scratching her arse. Of course, Dad noticed this, and of course Dad is less polite than me, and he goes, "Got a bit of meat in your tooth, darling?" She didn't reply, but did all of a sudden show an interest in our tea. She picked up the loaf. "When on earth did you buy this, fellas?" She fingered the cheese. "This should be under cover. Let it sweat a bit." She prodded the sausage rolls and the doughnuts. When some fell on the floor, she bent down to pick them up and let out a fart. Not the thunderclap kind, but one that was very slow, steady, strong, and long. And also, if somebody with perfect pitch had heard it, like our Brian, he could tell you it was like a C sharp, say. "I always says to myself," she said to us, "wherever you be, let the wind be free." Then she laughed so much she made herself sneeze, and did not make herself clean up the result of the sneeze from her belly top or tablecloth. She was about to leave, but caught sight of my copy of the I Ching, saying, "Tell me, from which arse did this explode?" "It's mine." "I'll see you tomorrow, Eddie, old son."